Hello, I'm Selena Hart. If you're a Tauruser, if there's a quiet, grounded part of your soul that has always moved at its own pace, closer to the earth, more attuned to what's real than what's loud, then this message is meant for you. Today, we're not going to talk about the usual zodiac labels or surface level traits. We're going to go deeper. This is about the sacred gifts, 7 of them that were placed within you by something greater than this world. And they weren't given by accident. They were chosen, carved into your spirit, and meant to shape not only your life but the lives you touch just by being exactly who you are. This is not another feel-good horoscope or a list of traits that could apply to anyone. This is a spiritual reflection, a quiet naming of the strengths you've always carried but maybe never fully honored. Because Taurus, you've been steady for so long, patient for so many, and solid in a world that's always shifting. But what if I told you that your steadiness isn't just personality, it's purpose? What if I told you that your calm, your loyalty, your deep relationship with beauty and simplicity were all divine assignments? In this video, we're going to walk through each of the 7 sacred gifts God gave to Taurus and why the world so deeply needs you to live them fully. So take a breath, come back into your body, and let's begin. Your first gift, Taurus, is something that doesn't shout but is always felt. It's a magnetic stillness, a quiet kind of gravity that draws people in without you ever having to try. You don't chase attention. You don't perform. But somehow, your presence brings people peace. There's something about the way you stand, the way you listen without interrupting, the way your energy remains calm, even when everything around you feels rushed or chaotic. That's what makes you magnetic. It's not about sparkle or flash, it's about substance. People feel safer around you. They feel steadier, more anchored. And it's not because you say the right thing. It's because you are the right thing in a world that's always moving too fast. That natural ability to ground others isn't just a personality trait, it's a soul-given force, a spiritual frequency that helps slow down the noise and remind people of what matters. And when you fully own that energy, when you stop questioning whether your quiet is enough, that's when your presence becomes not just comforting but unforgettable. Your second gift is something that's often mistaken for stubbornness. But in truth, it's one of the most sacred forms of strength a person can carry. You were born with unwavering courage, not the loud, reckless kind, but the deeply rooted type that shows up again and again. Especially when things get hard. You don't run at the first sign of challenge. You hold your ground. You endure. And though others might not see it, there's an incredible bravery in the way you keep showing up for life. For people. For your commitment, 7. When no one's watching. Even when it's thankless. You weather storms not because you're immune to fear or pain, but because you've learned how to stay planted when everything else starts to fall apart. That's courage. Taurus, that's what makes you dependable. And that's why people turn to you when things break. They know you won't. This gift doesn't come with fireworks. It's quiet, consistent, and deeply resilient. But it's also rare. And the more you trust it, the more you realize you weren't just made to survive this life. You were made to hold it steady for others too. The third gift you carry, Taurus, is your quiet but undeniable leadership. You don't lead through commands or declarations. You lead by living what you believe. You lead by showing up, day after day, grounded in your values, consistent in your integrity, calm, even when others are falling apart. People trust you not because you ask them to, but because they see something in you that feels solid. You don't have to convince anyone to follow your path. They follow because your actions speak louder than any words ever could. You embody stability in a world addicted to chaos. Your leadership doesn't come from needing the spotlight, it comes from your ability to hold space, to listen deeply, to make wise choices when others hesitate. And while some signs are known for their fire or charisma, your power comes from something deeper. Your unshakable center. That's what people follow. That's what earns their respect. You show that leadership isn't about being above, it's about being deeply rooted, so others can rise. And just as true as your fourth gift, your creative soul, Taurus, Your creativity doesn't always look like art hanging in a gallery or music echoing through a stage. Sometimes it's the way you turn a quiet room into a sanctuary. Sometimes it's the way you cook, dress, build, or arrange the ordinary in a way that makes it feel sacred. You have this rare ability to turn simplicity into beauty, to take what's raw and shape it into something meaningful. And it's not just about aesthetics, it's about presence. You put your whole self into what you make. And people feel that. A meal from your hands carries warmth. A space you design carries peace. A project you lead carries care. That's your golden creativity. Taurus, not loud or dramatic, but rich, sensual, intentional. The world may try to rush you, may push you to produce for speed instead of meaning. But when you move at your own pace and trust your process, what you create becomes unforgettable. Because your creativity doesn't just decorate life, it deepens it. It reminds us all that beauty is not something we chase. It's something we build. Slowly. From the inside out. The fifth gift you carry, Taurus, is your quiet, steadfast generosity, the kind that flows not from obligation or performance, but from a deep place of care. You don't give to be noticed. You give because it feels natural to share what you have with those you love. Your generosity isn't loud, but it's lasting. It shows up in practical ways, in a meal prepared without being asked, in time spent without a clock, in resources shared with no strings attached. And what makes this gift so rare is that it doesn't come from a need to be praised. It comes from a genuine desire to make others feel safe, nourished, supported. You don't just give things, you give stability. You offer people a place to land when life feels overwhelming. You offer consistency in a world that constantly shifts. That is a kind of wealth the world desperately needs. And it's one you carry effortlessly. Taurus, your generosity isn't reckless. It's discerning. You know when to give. And you know when giving too much would cost your peace. And yet, when someone truly matters to you, your devotion is unmatched. You will go out of your way to ensure they're cared for even if you never speak of it. This is the kind of generosity that creates quiet waves in people's lives. The kind that changes someone's day or even their sense of worth without needing to be acknowledged. While others may measure value by attention or applause, you give from a deeper place. A sacred place. And that's why your giving isn't just kind, it's healing. It reminds people that love doesn't always need to be loud to be real. It reminds them that something as simple as showing up, consistently and without condition, is one of the most powerful forms of generosity there is. You are that reminder. And in giving that kind of care, you lead by example, not to be admired, but because it's simply who you are. So as we come to the end of this journey, Taurus, I want you to take a moment not just to think about what you've heard, but to feel it in your body. Because these gifts we've named today, they're not qualities you need to earn, perform, or prove. They were written into your soul from the beginning. Your quiet strength, your magnetic calm, your ability to create beauty and simplicity, to give without needing recognition, to lead without chasing power. These are not ordinary things. These are sacred threads in the fabric of who you are. And in a world that's always shouting for more, always pulling you to move faster, be louder, shine brighter in ways that don't always feel true, you are being asked to remember a different rhythm. Your rhythm, one that is slower, more intentional, more deeply rooted in truth than noise. You don't need to change who you are to become powerful. Taurus, you already are. You don't need to push yourself into the mold of someone louder or flashier. Your presence speaks without words. Your reliability is a gift people don't even realize they're leaning on until it's gone. Your stability gives others the strength to take risks. And your care, often quiet, often unspoken, is what makes people feel seen, valued, safe. That is no small thing. That is the kind of leadership the world is aching for. Not the kind that dominates, but the kind that holds, that nourishes, that lasts. You may have spent years doubting your worth because it didn't look like someone else's. You may have internalized the message that unless your light shines like fire, It doesn't count. But Taurus, your light is the kind that glows from within. It warms. It endures. It roots. It heals. And now more than ever, the world needs that kind of light. The kind that slows us down. The kind that reminds us that peace, patience, and presence are not weaknesses. They are power in its purest form. So walk forward, not trying to be anything other than who you are. Trust your pace. Trust your instincts. Trust the beauty in your simplicity, the wisdom in your silence, the depth in your presence, because those 7 sacred gifts you carry, they are not there by accident. They were entrusted to you for this time, for this life, for the lives you're meant to touch just by being yourself. Until next time, stay rooted, stay soft where it matters, stay steady where it counts, and above all, stay true. Because the most powerful thing you can ever be in this world is deeply, quietly, and unwaveringly you.